Okay, before we start assembling our manifold, real quick review. We're going to be starting off with some automatic irrigation valves, whether they're inline or anti-siphon. We'll show you how to do both. And we've got our filter and pressure reducer for our drip irrigation system. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you to make sure we get this right is how to put Teflon tape on a male adapter. We take our male adapter, put it in our left hand. We start our tape over the top. Keep a little friction on there. There's one turn, 2, 3, 4. I'm keeping pressure applied. There's 5. Break it off. Finish it up nice. That way, when we assemble our male adapter into our valve, the Teflon tape stays on and doesn't back off. The Teflon tape helps us a couple ways. First of all, it helps us remove these fittings years down the road, and it helps create a seal for now. Okay, I'm going to be grabbing our valve box and we're going to start laying out our manifold. Our first valve manifold that we're going to build today is an inline valve manifold. So I've grabbed my irrigation valve box and I'm going to build my manifold on top of it so I know that all my valves will fit inside of it. Now, the reason for the valve box for the inline valves is these valves are going in ground, so we want to be able to protect them, have a lid on this so we can have easy access to them and doing any service work or any troubleshooting. Okay, so we're going to be building 3 valves today in our systems. We lay everything out here. Here's our 3 valves. We're going to make sure everything fits inside. Now we're going to take a measurement in between the outlets. And we come up with 3 inches. Everything will fit perfect. Okay, so I've come up with my 3 inches in between our T's. We measure a couple 3 inches, so we're going to make everything the very same, nice and equal. Use our PVC ratchet cutters. I'd suggest using these versus a saw. First of all, you'll see that it's quite a bit quicker and it gives us cuts without any burrs that can go down line and cause us troubles in the future. Okay. We double check again. Looky there, everything's going to fit. So we would assemble these with glue. I would suggest getting your gloves on now and have your paper towels ready. One of the things I wanted to do for you is I want to give you a couple tips on how to glue properly. First of all, we always use nice fresh glue. This is our hotter blue glue. Most of these blue glues do not require any primer. If we're reusing some of the slower setting like the older fashioned gray glues, we would need to use primer. Now what I'm going to show you is just on a test piece here with a couple scrap pieces of PVC. What we do first is we're going to glue our hub first. Nice clean swab. Then we're going to do our pipe all the way around, wiping off any excess. Here we go. We're going to put this in and try to give it at least a quarter turn. We're spreading that glue evenly throughout that joint because this is going to look all nice and professional. We clean up our glue. Okay, let's do one more for demo purposes. Once again, nice clean glue, clean dauber in the hub on our pipe. Position it so we insert it with a quarter turn. We come back nice and clean and we can take a look at this glue joint and make sure we have glue on it. One of the drawbacks of some of the clear glue is that when you take a look at a joint and if you've dry fitted something, you'll find out when you fire up the system you've dry fitted a joint. So that's why I like the blue glue, so we can take a look at every joint and make sure that it is glued. Okay, we're going to start assembling our manifold now. I'm going to put we'd be gluing these up normally. I'm going to dry fit this manifold so I can show you all the different kinds of combinations and different options we can do for our manifold. Okay, so we're going to start by, we would first glue in our first piece of pipe on here. I would glue on this second piece of pipe in here, ready to go. Then I would be gluing these two pieces together, and I've cut two different ways to make sure that these are square and true with the world, because that's what we're going to need so our manifold comes out all nice and true. We can glue these up and actually line them up by eye and get a real good square fit. I've rotated this 90 degrees and our glue joint is good. Another way to do this is put our glue on here and offset it a little bit, so when we put it together we are turning it 90 degrees, and then I line these up on a nice square flat surface. We can be using the top of our valve box, we can use in our workbench, or what works great out in the field, tailgate of your pickup truck. Okay, so now we'll add our third T to our manifold. We've got everything lined up here. We've glued this, we're twisting it to get our glue spread. We've double checked this is nice and square. So here we have our basic manifold. Alrighty, for the next part of our manifold, we need to get our outlet pieces that go out to our valves. So we'll take a quick measurement here, and it looks like about 2.5 inches will work great. So I'm going to spend a second. I'm going to cut 3 from my 3 valves, 2.5 inches pieces to come out of my manifold. Okay, I've assembled the rest of my inline valve assembly, and I'll do one final check here. I'm going to make sure that everything is going to fit inside of my valve box. One final check. We see that everything is going to fit. Now let's go over something. This is our manifold. On this part of the manifold will be our main line. It will always be charged. It's going to our individual valves that will open and close through our timer. Okay, I'm going to show now a manifold for anti-siphon valves, which are for irrigation systems using domestic water. Alrighty, now we're going to build our manifold with our anti-siphon valves for domestic water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look right here. If we're going to be burying our valves, let's say 8 inches underground, we're going to be up about 6. So I'm going to cut my risers about 14 inches. I've got 3 valves, so I'm going to pre-cut 6 of those. Okay, we've pre-assembled our anti-siphon manifold. Here's all of our anti-siphon valves. We can see that we use 16-inch risers to come up out of the ground. We're going to be about 8 inches underground for the manifold, and then we're going to have about 8 inches above ground on the manifold. Now the reason why we need these to be above ground, anti-siphon valves need to breathe. Now here is the automatic part of the anti-siphon valve. Here is the anti-siphon part of the valve. This part needs to breathe the air. We typically keep our anti-siphon valves 6 inches above our highest sprinkler. So once water goes through this automatic part of the valve and reaches this part of the valve, it's considered contaminated, and we don't want that water coming back into our domestic water system. So now that we've got our automatic valves all pre-assembled and ready to be installed in ground, now we're going to talk and we're going to show you how we're going to install our drip filters and pressure regulators.